There are some changes coming to knowledge base articles or KB articles in TechConnect. A knowledge base article is an article in TechConnect that has been written by someone at Tufts for someone at Tufts, usually with instructions or information on how to do something. The problem we're trying to solve is that many articles are out of date. There's currently no article review, which results in outdated articles that might have incorrect information, but the people using them don't know they're outdated. They're just looking at the how-to article. The solution to this that we're implementing is a yearly review of every knowledge base article. Articles are going to be assigned a valid to date. By the valid to date, the article has to be updated or the article will be retired, which means it's not shown in search results. Articles don't get deleted. You can always go in and republish a retired article. So the flow is that a KB article is authored and published. So a KB article is written. By default, the KB article valid to date is set to 1 year from the date that the KB article was published. If an action is taken on the KB article, if the KB article is updated, the valid to date will be reset to 1 year from the date the article was updated. If no action is taken, if the valid to date is reached, so there's been no action on the article in 1 year, the KB article will be retired, which again means it's not shown in search results, but you can always republish it later.
There are 3 options when reviewing the article. If the article is wrong or outdated, update the article, edit the article, and make the changes you need to. If the article is correct and no changes are needed, the article should just stay published as it is. Just update the article. You can go in and update it without making any changes at all. If the article is no longer needed, if you review it and you see that maybe it's on a software we don't use anymore or some other reason that the article might not be needed at all, you can just retire the article. Let's look at how to do this.
Every KB article has a group, and if you're in the group for the knowledge base article, you can update the article by navigating to the article in TechConnect,
clicking Edit in the top right,
clicking Checkout in the top right, making your updates. So perhaps here I'll just make an update to the short description, and then clicking Check in and Publish in the top right. Now, when I look at the article, the valid to date is 1 year from today, which is January 25th, 2025.
If you're looking at an article and it doesn't need any changes, you still need to let TechConnect know that it's been reviewed. To do this, we're going to click Edit in the top right, just like if we were going to update the content. We're going to click Checkout, and a new version of the article is created for us even before we make any changes. So now we can just click Check in and Publish, and that new version of the article becomes live. It tells us the knowledge article has been published. There's now an updated version of this article, which I can click on. And now this article has been reviewed, has been updated. And if I click Edit to get to the edit screen, I can see that now this is valid to January 26th of 2025, as I am editing it on January 26th of 2024. You must click Checkout, then Check in and Publish for the valid to date to be reset for another year, even if you aren't making any changes.
If I'm looking at this article and determine that it should just be retired, so it shouldn't appear in search results, it doesn't need an update, it should just be taken down,
we're going to click Edit in the top right.
Instead of hitting Checkout, I can click Retire, which will retire the article. You'll get a pop-up warning you that this will take this article down from the search results. I'll click OK. Then I'm taken back to the article with a note at the top saying the knowledge article has been retired. And if I determine it shouldn't have been retired, I can always just click republish in the top right. And it tells me this knowledge article has been published. And I'm back to an edit screen with checkout and retire in the top right. If you're on a knowledge-based article and you click edit, but then you decide you don't want to check out or retire the article, that's fine. Clicking edit just brings you to the screen with the checkout and retire buttons. It doesn't actually change the article yet. So you can continue working from TechConnect from here, just like if you didn't click the edit button. And to go back to the published article, you can scroll down and on the left, click View Article. And you are taken back to the original published article screen.
When you're determining whether an article needs to be updated, don't forget to look at the knowledge feedback tasks, or KFTs. KFTs are generated if someone marks an article as not helpful. You can then go look at the knowledge feedback task, and in the description field, there'll be what the user left as a comment for why they thought this article wasn't helpful. Let's go look. There are several ways to find knowledge feedback tasks. You can, when looking at an article and clicking the edit button on the top right, scroll down in this screen, and in the third tab, you have feedback tasks, where you can see all of the feedback that's been left on this article, and on the right, if it's closed or still open. The first link here takes you to that knowledge feedback task. And here you can see in the description field what the user wrote. You can also get to knowledge feedback tasks in the All menu. In Knowledge, there are feedback tasks assigned to you, feedback tasks assigned to your group that haven't been assigned to an individual yet, and all tasks assigned to your group. For example, I can see if I click on all tasks assigned to my group that there is currently one feedback task. Something that's very important is closing these knowledge feedback tasks. When you're looking at a knowledge feedback task, you have an option in the top right to just jump to editing the article. And this takes you to the regular article edit screen where I have checkout and I have retire in the top right. If you retire an article, all associated knowledge feedback tasks will close. You don't have to do anything. Any KFTs that were open for this article will automatically close. But if you check out the article and you update it, the KFTs will not automatically close because TechConnect doesn't know if what you changed addresses the KFT. When you want to close a KFT, you have to come to the KFT and click Resolve KFT. It will ask you to put in a resolution code. So what did you do? You likely updated the article. And a resolution note. So put in a little note of what you did. For example, maybe I updated the article to define SSO. Then you can once again click Resolve KFT. And TechConnect tells us that this KFT has been resolved. And that's it. But how do you know if you have upcoming article retirements if you have open KFTs? There are two main ways that you can be informed of this. The first is that there's a dashboard in TechConnect. It's called My Group's Knowledge.
Let's look at the dashboard. When you're on the homepage of TechConnect, you'll have a dashboards overview where you can see your recent dashboards or search for a dashboard. And I can search for My Group's Knowledge. The dashboard pops up. I can click on it. And what I see are my upcoming article retirements in my group, so articles that need action in the next 30 days. And I can see their valid to date, the service they're on, some other information on the article, and most importantly, the article number that I can click on to be taken to the article. Scrolling down on this dashboard, I also have all open feedback tasks for my group. Below that, I have articles from my groups that have recently been retired. And at the bottom, I can see all of the KnowledgeBase articles in my group.
Depending on your role, you may also get an email reminder twice a month. So the first and third week of the month, an email reminder will go out summarizing how many articles you have that are about to retire, how many feedback tasks you have, and how many articles were recently retired. When does this start? Already, feedback can be left on articles. So someone can already go to an article and mark it as not helpful with a reason. Already, you can go to the My Group's Knowledge dashboard if you want to get a head start on reviewing articles or seeing if you have open feedback tasks. And on April 1st, this is the earliest any article has a valid to date. So the earliest any article will expire is April 1st. And something to keep in mind if you need help is there are knowledge base articles for all of these actions. If an article is assigned to your group and you think it shouldn't be, you can search TechConnect for the knowledge base article of how to change the knowledge base or KB article assigned group. If you need a recap on how to review an article with an upcoming valid to date, you can search the knowledge base for that article. And there's also an article on how to view or resolve knowledge feedback tasks. If you have questions on any of this, you can reach out to Susie Raimondi. So it's susan.raimondi@tufts.edu. And we'll be very happy to help you.